This is my 2004 iPod mini, one of my absolute favorite pieces of tech. And this is my 2024 tinyPod, a spiritual successor to the iPod that utilizes your existing Apple tech, giving you an experience where everything just works. I'm Michael from Messenger Bag Media, and if you're a tech enthusiast looking for a new device to explore, or you're someone aiming to cut back on screen time, this tiny powerhouse might be just what you're looking for. The tinyPod is a compact, feature-packed gadget designed to simplify your digital life. Let's jump into our review. The tinyPod lives up to its name. It's small, lightweight, and sleek, easily fitting in the palm of your hand or slipping it into a pocket. The build quality is surprisingly robust, with a clean, minimalist aesthetic that'll appeal to anyone who loves the form factor of an iPod or even newer Apple products. I've spent the last month using this little doodad and can say it's definitely got a new place in my life. If you're nostalgic for the days of the iPod or iPod mini, the tinyPod will feel like a trip down memory lane. It shares the same ultra-portable form factor, but updates it with modern connectivity and usability. If you were to try and use an iPod in 2025, you've got to pull out your 30-pin connector, download your music to iTunes, and sync everything back and forth. No streaming and no wireless earbuds available. However, unlike the iPod, the tinyPod syncs effortlessly with the modern Apple ecosystem and the apps you've come to use and expect in 2025. It's like having the best parts of the iPod, but tailored for today's minimalist lifestyle. So how does it work? The tinyPod is basically a plastic case that houses an Apple Watch. The scroll wheel works by ingeniously spinning the digital crown hidden inside the case. There are also buttons for pushing in the digital crown and side buttons you'd be used to on your Apple Watch, and the touchscreen works just as it always did. The only thing that's missing, and to be honest, I'm not sure how they'd even add this, is that the center button on the tinyPod doesn't actually click or do anything. I know that with the tinyPod, you're just using an Apple Watch, but it works so convincingly as an iPod replacement that I just wish we could take this thing the extra mile and allow confirmation/selection with the center button. So now that you know how it works, what can you actually do with the tinyPod? Well, basically anything you can do on an Apple Watch. That means reminders, timers, alarms, calculator, compass, home controls, mail, maps, messages, mindfulness, translate, weather, and even phone are available. If there's an Apple Watch version, you can use it on your tinyPod. That said, some functionality may depend on the model you have though, as there have been progressively new features added to the Apple Watch over the years. For instance, I'm using my old Series 6 watch in the tinyPod, which was the last version not to feature a full on-screen keyboard. This means on my tinyPod, if I want to send any texts or emails, I've got to dictate them out loud or on the horrible on-screen drawing. Aside from the keyboard being a major Series difference, the only other major difference between Series has been that the screen bezels have shrunk over the years and the battery life has improved. My old Series 6 watch was also only a Wi-Fi model, not one with cellular. This means that if I want to go out into the world without my phone, but still with everything on my device, I have to have everything offline downloaded to my tinyPod. If you've purchased a tinyPod or are considering getting one, I'd highly recommend using the modular watch face. It lets you add several complications to the screen in a way that can mimic an iPod. Infograph is another decent option, but the watch face definitely feels far more like a watch. But if that's what you're going for, so be it. If you'd like to see more on cool or creative ways you can set up and optimize your tinyPod, leave a comment below. We've done a lot of cool experimenting and we'll be happy to share it. So who is the tinyPod for? Many of us are looking for ways to disconnect and reclaim our focus. The tinyPod can help with that. By handling your media and basic tasks, it eliminates the urge to reach out for your phone every few minutes. No social media, no endless apps, just the essentials. It's perfect for those digital detox moments, whether you're trying to spend more quality time with family, focus on a project, or simply unwind. The tinyPod encourages you to step away from your phone while still allowing you to stream music or podcasts and to stay connected when it matters. Whether you're a tech enthusiast or not, this device is a dream for experimenting with stripped down tech. It's refreshing to see a product that offers essential features without overloading you with distractions. Plus, it's a great conversation starter. Imagine pulling this thing out and explaining how it replaces some of your phone's functionalities. It's an innovative take on minimalist tech, and it's incredibly satisfying to use. If you're looking to reduce screen time, distraction, or just generally achieve a more minimalist setup, the tinyPod is a really fun, familiar way to do it. I didn't buy the tinyPod for much of a reason other than it seemed like a fun tech curiosity, and my old Apple Watch Series 6 was just sitting around collecting dust. This has turned what would have otherwise been e-waste into an actual usable piece of tech again. Do I use it every day? No, but I've been trying to leave my phone at home when I go for walks and just disconnect for a bit, or even enjoy a bit of music or a podcast. It's been great for that. All in all, the tinyPod is a fantastic little device that combines functionality with intentionality. It's not meant to replace your iPhone, but to complement it and offer a refreshing alternative for specific use cases. For $79, it's a worthwhile investment for anyone looking to simplify their tech ecosystem or breathe new life into an old Apple Watch. What do you think of the tinyPod? Could you see yourself using one? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon for more tech reviews. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.